G'day viewers, how they hanging? Peter here. Doing a little job on the Morris today, so I don't know if you're interested, but I'll show you what I'm up to. So if you can see there, I've got the car jacked up, and as you can see, you've got the chassis supported by this trolley jack. So the trolley jack is supporting the chassis, and then under the lower control arm there, I've got a mechanical screw jack, and that is just to lift the suspension up off. See, there's a rubber, this is rubber. Oops, that's rubber. It's a rubber bump stop. And this is the end of the lever arm shocker, and there's a rubber bush in here. And then you have your steering components here, but I'll try and pan back a bit and try and show you what's going on. So if you look in here, the rubber bush has failed, but I'm more concerned, if you can see up in here, that this shaft, the shaft and bush up there is worn. So what I've got a leather arm shock here, and this is a matched pair. Now these are in right and left, but they got the same part number right hand and the same part number left hand. So I'm only changing one today. But this one I put in the vise, and it's working quite well actually. So I might change the other side at a later date, at least they'll be a matched pair. And the correct way to do it, this is a tapered hole in here, like a tie rod end, but they can be difficult to get out, and this could be 70 years old. But what I reckon is, this dimension here is about 45 millimeters wide, this hole, and this big thick washer here, it's metal, is only about 40. So I think I can get, if I take this nut off, I can take the rubber bush out, and I can actually leave this connected to this lever arm, and I'll get it through this hole. I'll be interested to be swearing and cursing. But I think I'll be able to do that, and that'll be easier than trying to get that taper out of there, especially if it's been there for 70 years, since 1958. I'm not sure how I'll go. But you can see I've just cleaned this nut up, so I've just got to bend this tab back. I'll put a bit of WD on it and see if I can get that off. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I got that nut off. So as you can see, I got the nut off. And this component is now free, but what I did want to show you was, can you see the amount of play in there? That's why I want to change this now. I got the rubber bushes in two halves. This was the forward one, which is kind of mostly there, but it's a bit perished. And this is the back one, so there was essentially nothing left of the back one. So we'll sally the fourth and see if I can get all of that through that hole. Save myself a bit of work. Okay, so I've got a torch in here now. So I don't know what you can see. First off, I'll show you. I took the air cleaner off, which was only a very simple job with some 10mm socket. So how this lever arm works, that's the shock absorber, and that's a substantial cross member that is a robust part of the car. And there's these 4 bolts that go through, and they've got these bend over tabs. I've just flattened them out. So I'm going to change this whole component, because you can see how that lever arm goes through that 45mm hole, and it comes out there. So I'm going to try and see if I can feed it through that hole rather than try and get that tapered fitting out. Now the problem that people may encounter is the bolts that hold that damper to the firewall are, hang on, this is upside down, Sid Chrome Quarter Whitworth. And Quarter Whitworth is a bastard of a size because metric won't fit and imperial won't fit. But I've got a Quarter Whitworth socket. So we'll see how we go. Now this is the new pin that I'm going to put in. So that's the pin there. So you can see that end's got a castellated nut and it's got a taper. And this is a fixed washer. So I think, yeah, it's fixed. This end's got a loose washer and a nut. What retains that? I'm going to bend, I'll put a bending washer on that so it doesn't undo. I'm going to put a bit of silicone paste just on the centre of these two bushes. So that's my plans, okay? Okay, now this went together quite easily. So you can see what I've got here. I put this castellated nut in. I put a washer under it, which didn't come in the kit, but I think it's better, and I could still fit it in. There's your big ass washer. The rubber bush is in there and in there. Now I've just bent this tab around. I'm not going to bend the other side. I'll take it for a drive around the block and make sure everything settles. But this is all tight now. I've just got to put the wheel back on. And up in here, I've got to put the air cleaner back on. Again, I'll go around the block. I haven't bent these tabs over yet. When I bought this car, the tabs were not bent over, and this used to come loose all the time. And then I bent them back, but now I've had to do this job. But this shocker looks like a lot better. It's not leaking oil at the moment. This one I found out, as soon as I pulled it out, I thought the wear was in this bush and shaft, but I don't know if you can see this. If you look, it's actually between the arm and the shaft. So in his infinite wisdom, the previous owner has put this on not to, look at this, it's finger tight. Now, so with the benefit of hindsight, I didn't have to change that, but it was still leaking. And also, the resistance of this one, it's a bit worn. The other one is much stiffer to move. So, yeah, I could have just done this nut up. But this is going to be a better job. And I have got a matched pair of these. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, I've got it all together. Got the wheel back on. Everything feels nice and tight. It's raining outside. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm freaking tired and I want to wash my hands. So I've just thrown the air cleaner on by the centre bolt. I haven't put these other bolts in yet, in case I got to tighten these, and I've got to tighten up the 4 bolts to the firewall. But I'm just going to take it for a drive around the block, tighten those 4 and bend the tabs over, put the 3 bolts back in the air cleaner, and then bend over the tabs on that one. But I do want to take it for a drive around the block first. But I want to say, gee, that was easy to work on. These cars were built in 1948. Well, after the war finished in 45, so they probably started designing them straight away, and they were in production in 1948. And they were designed to be simple and serviceable to the average bloke with average tools. And without looking in the manual, I just pulled that apart and fixed it, and it really was a joy to work on. Now, this one, I tightened up this bolt, so I don't know if you can see, and now it's not loose the arm on the shaft. So that's fixed that, but I don't know if you can hear and see this. There is still a bit in the play in the shaft and the bush, and that will explain why it's leaking if there's wear in the shaft and the bush. So it was a good thing to change it. And I wonder about 22-year-old, like if you started your apprenticeship as a motor mechanic at 18, then you'd be a tradesman, you'd finish your trade by the time you were 22. And if you got a 22-year-old and said, I'm going to do this job with no special tools, no access to the internet, no manual, they'd probably be a bit frightened. But when things are designed well and designed to be worked on and everything is apparent and simple, you know, there's no reason you can't do it yourself. Just pull it apart. You know, but I think a lot of 22-year-olds without a OBD board and a scan tool or a manual and the internet, they think they can't do it, but just fucking get in and do it. Well, especially on cars like this, it really was a joy to work on. I was pretty impressed, to be frank. All right, so that job's done, so hooroo.